Looky here, James. Yo! Yeah! Spooky Lou Carbon Barker, it's 2023 and we're kicking it off big on WrestleRoni. Frat Daddy! How you doing, big guy?
Oh, I'm parched, I'm tired, I'm worn out, because those are two very different things. And currently, I'm dealing with my niece and my nephew, because like any good adult, I don't pay for my Wi-Fi, I steal it from my sisters.
Oh, I feel it. Hell yeah. Okay. I appreciate the sacrifice. I appreciate what you're doing for the podcast.
Bills are too damn expensive as it is, right? So I'm not going to add on by having Wi-Fi at my house. I'm never there. I'm too busy working and dealing with all these bitches every day. Mostly the people in my community, because I love them dearly from the bottom of my heart, because I'm a good person. No one believes me, but I'm a good person.
2022 Samaritan of the Year. Or Philanthropist of the Year.
There it is, see?
We won't even get into all the awards. Everybody knows all the awards you got on the WrestleRoni Awards. Congratulations. It was a very legitimate competition. Award
The
show.
most legitimate.
Yeah. And folks were happy about it. I'm sure you saw the response on Facebook and Twitter as well as I did. Folks were tickled to death that you finally got your flowers.
Some people did not appreciate it. Others thought it was great. You know, it is what it is. Hold that thought 1 second, Lou. Give me 1 minute.
I'll be here. Oh, Lord. WrestleRoni will be here tomorrow. Now we got a baby.
As a baby. This
First
is my niece.
baby on the show. Baby of the year 2023.
There it is. This is Bailey. She is the micro frat.
I see that. Okay. Now we got Bailey. I'll take up some questions for Bailey here momentarily.
She's not good at answering them yet. She's only 8 months old. And my sister hasn't trained her well enough yet. Now, my kid by 8 months old was having full-grown conversations, but she's also 3 feet tall and looked like an adult. So, I mean.
Okay. Who's seen this side of Frat Daddy? We're breaking down barriers tonight. Talking about the third wall, fourth wall. You're getting insight right here. Right here,
Listen.
only on WrestleRoni, as we do. I'm going to start firing questions at you. Why wrestling? What happened, man?
So, I'm 33, which means I grew up during the Attitude Era.
Uh-huh.
Like, I started watching wrestling right on the back end of, like, the crossover from the new gen into the Attitude Era whenever Diesel and Razor left.
Okay.
My earliest memories from wrestling are not necessarily in this order, but are DX invading the Norfolk Scope and Kevin Nash long darting Rey Mysterio into the side of the truck, right? Mm-hmm. Those are my earliest memories of wrestling. And ever since then, I was hooked. Like most guys, come high school because of sports and dating, I kind of fell out. But then when I got to college and I got into the Army, that's really when I got back into watching wrestling, right in the back end of, like, Edge retiring.
Okay.
And that was because, like, Edge was my guy, right? It was like Edge, Sting, Jericho. A lot of people don't talk about him, but I was a huge Benoit guy. Eddie, like those little radicals in general were like my guys. So seeing guys like Edge, who were top of the game in my opinion, like, leave, that like stuck with me. And at the time when I was in the Army, I was actually stationed in Fort Knox, and that is about 45 minutes from Louisville, which is our OVW is. Get out of my mouth, you weirdo! But so I thought for a while I'd stay in Kentucky and I'd go to OVW when I got out of the Army. And then, I had my daughter, so I was like, well, let's get back home. And the dream kind of faded away until I found a local indie promotion because I had a show with Matt Hardy on it, and that just kind of snowballed into me going and training up in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so you found indie wrestling. I was going to actually get to that. You already, boom, indie wrestling. I love it. Thank you for your service as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Definitely. That gets you some brownie points here on WrestleRoni for sure. So
I assume it was the cute baby that did it, but serving also gives me brownie points occasionally.
For sure. That's nothing to take lightly. Shit, yeah. I appreciate you. So you found indie wrestling. You see Matt Hardy's on a poster. You check out this indie show. What drew you to independent wrestling?
Honestly, just because I saw the poster Matt Hardy. I grew up in the greater Pittsburgh area, and small indie promotions like ECW came through whenever I was younger. Those existed. I just didn't realize like it was wrestling. I was like, oh, it's just a bunch of backyard guys. I realized a lot of them were actually trained wrestlers. Like, I didn't realize there was a distinction to, like, the concept of like independent wrestling and like essentially quote unquote being like the minor leagues really. Like I didn't really put that together. Like I knew OVW, I knew Japan existed, I knew AAA existed. But like independence, not until I started training. Like when I found that company in the end, and it was August the 13th. That was really whenever I was like, oh, independent wrestling exists, and I'm just like, oh, wrestling's right here. I can watch it and be live because my background's also in performing arts. I was a theater major in college, and wrestling is immersive theater. So being able to be there around that environment, it's what kept me like going to shows. And honestly, I never imagined at that point in my life I would start wrestling because I was dealing with a lot of different things physically at the time. And so like things just kind of fell into place for it to happen.
I got you. I got you. And it's a good point to bring up. The independents are bigger than anybody realizes. I've been watching the indies since 1999, and now that I'm getting to go around and talk to different folks and just see different things, and I'm finding a new fed every day on Facebook. Independent wrestling is everywhere. Every company has their own legacy, their own history, just every state. You could make a documentary on every state, hours long. Just what does it mean to you as far as our local scene here? Over the years, you saw it develop. What's the pros, the cons, the good, bad, and ugly that you've seen?
So like I broke in Pittsburgh, right? Like
Okay.
I was lucky that I broke in around guys like Lee Moriarty, guys like the Sean Phoenix of the world, Victor Benjamin, Zach Myers. A lot of us all broke in. I mean, legitimately months apart from each other at the back end of 2015, beginning 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like what it means to me is watching like legitimately my peers, guys who I broke in with, people like Britt Baker and Wardlow, people like um, Red Velvet, seeing Stephanie out there, like seeing people that have been in and around the Pittsburgh area and the Northeast scene, even like down south, like seeing them get opportunities to shine when they might not have gotten them anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like what it means to me is like there's opportunity for people that didn't fit the mold that a very particular company wanted, but they were still chasing their dream and they're achieving it every day.
Yep. And big props to AEW for all the independent talent, whether it be Dark, Elevation, the occasional Dynamite. You might have a brand new guy beat Chris Jericho. You never know who's going
Yeah,
to get a shot,
yeah.
who's going to shine. Big props.
One second, Lou. What's up, buddy?
I think the freezer house is the turtle disc.
What about the turtle disc?
It's gone.
Well, we'll see if you can find it.
Oh, I can't find it.
We'll try harder.
It's chaos as usual on WrestleRoni. We got fan questions coming in, but I still, before we get to those, I just gotta know the history here. You're on the independent scene now. How do you come across Real Shoot Wrestling and Tim Cross and the gang?
Okay, so once upon a time, way back when, I was maybe a year or two in. This is probably like 2017, and I messaged Real Shoot's page, reach out, say, hey, this is who I am. This is where I trained. I'd love the chance to come down, work with you guys. I sent some footage over, and I don't get any responses. Makes sense. It's okay. I was young. And then right before, not even right before, it was right around the time that the pandemic started.
Okay.
We got a chance, me and Zach, when we were tagging full time as the good guys, got a chance to go down, and I think we went down because of Beastman and because of Ronnie Starks was buddy with Tim, and that got us on a show that now we are mostly career heels, Zach and I.
Uh-huh.
And we come down, and our first matches with TJ Phillips and St. Pat. I can't remember what their tag name was. I don't remember.
Okay.
My brain, squishy. It's squishy sometimes. A little smooth occasionally.
I understand.
But we tag with them, and now, again, career heels. we come in and turns out we're being a babyface tag team. We've never done that. So would you stop being so violent? Rude. Thank you. Fuck. Anyway, so we work this match as baby faces. It goes okay, and we were willing to come down and help Tim out a lot because like they're still trying to film and put something out for the product at the time to be able to you bastard. That was my whole face again.
Hey, just act like you're telling her, and I bet she goes along with it. Tell her the story of meeting Tim.
Feisty little rod. But so Tim just kept bringing us back down because we were willing to come and work, and Zach and I just really wanted to wrestle. Like I was okay. Like I say it all the time. I'm very honest about it. That if I wouldn't have started wrestling at Real Shoot, I would not have come back from the pandemic as a wrestler.
Oh yeah.
I was very content with life, and I was in the direction where I was like, I've got a path I want to be on, and I'm okay with it. I was like, and I think I'm gonna hang the boots up.
Okay.
Because me and Zach had some things going on in another company, but down at Black Diamond Wrestling over in the Wheeling area.
Okay.
I was like, well, we'll finish that stuff up because we're still also filming, and I was doing a lot production-wise there at the time. And then it turned into us working full-time with Tim.
Okay.
And that just kind of, again, I'll say it a lot probably, it's just snowballed into where we are now, of me being here full-time, me being in a position where my goal in wrestling was to take me where I am. Man, if this was my kid, I swear.
It's not.
My whole face.
This is the test of a professional right here.
I love you. This is why I didn't go into teaching, because I hate kids. This one's okay, but yeah, and honestly, like I said, if it wouldn't have been for Real Shoot, I would not still be a wrestler. Wow. Because prior to the pandemic, like my goals were to go to Japan. I wanted to go wrestle in Japan. Now I'm a single father, and I was in my kid's life because I had her. Like it was just me and my girlfriend at the time. But I wasn't active, Okay. Like I did stuff, but I wasn't like. I also at the time I was in school. I was working. That's my entire ear hole, you weirdo. Oh my god! Keep all of this in, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's phenomenal. But like I had a path, and I was performing. I was wrestling really frequently, and me and Zach started really we started getting some stride, and we had some goals, and they were at the time I believe very attainable. Like I thought Japan was a very realistic thing for us. I thought getting a chance to go overseas as a tag team was something we could bring to fruition. And then the pandemic happened, and we lost a ton of bookings. We lost a ton of opportunities that we already had lined up, and I'd realized because the first lockdown started in March. Mm-hmm. Right around the time the AEW kicked off like their weekly programming. And other than watching AEW, I don't watch anything WWE. I didn't follow any, I watched some Japan stuff, but I didn't miss performing. I didn't miss wrestling. I didn't miss the road. I didn't miss any of it.
Okay.
And I was like, and I was doing the homeschool thing with my kid because, we had to be, we were doing remote learning, and I was really cool with just the new path I had, the new relationship I had with my daughter, and, going down a path that wrestling wasn't going to be a part of it. But then we got to Real Shoot, and we kept working. I started having fun again because that was the biggest problem. I stopped having fun.
Right.
I started having fun. I started working with guys like DD Weiss, his early stages. I started hanging out and talking with and helping out with Mount Kilpis, Gannon and Pauly. Marcus Twisted just started training, so I was around him a lot. Brother Duzan, I was around Aaron all the time. Funny story about him that we'll get to later. Remind me to talk about the practice match I had with Brother Duzan when he was still a trainee. So it's a good one.
Okay.
But if it wouldn't have been for finding Real Shoot and really getting involved with them, going to help out at training sessions, going to do help with the ring crew, dude, that's such a weird face you just made. Man, babies are so odd. Oh yeah. But if it wouldn't have been for all the things that happened with Real Shoot, I wouldn't still be in the business. And now I'm in a position where there's some moves I want to make this year that I think are very realistic.
Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, that's my whole mouth.
And we'll definitely get into how things evolved from there. But while we're on Zach, the Good Guys, let's backtrack it. Tell me about meeting Zach Myers and how the Good Guys and how the tag team came about.
Okay, so that's actually a story of just an actual, like, the Good Guys itself was an accident. The tagging together was on purpose, but the Good Guys was an accident.
Okay.
So we were buddies. Like I said, we broke in around the same time of each other. He trained under Beastman. I trained under Super Hentai and VIP Joe Rosa over at IWC.
Okay.
No, we'd been in the locker around each other. We always had like a good like relationship. We were always like we were buddies. Like we joked around, cut up in the locker room, and we just kind of became better friends that way. And then he had just stopped tagging with his old partner Harley Morris, and I was positioned where I was like, I'm tired of doing this bumping thing. Mm-hmm. And we were making a joke. He's like, oh man, I want to tag it. I was like, man, I'll tag because I'll do half the bumping. And that's kind of how that started happening. Then we kind of just started deciding, well, what are we going to do? What's the gimmick going to be? What's the idea going to be? What's the name going to be? And we were, tossing ideas off the wall, some really bad, some pretty good. Some had some legs that we could have probably ran with, but ultimately they all sucked, right? So we're doing a fair show. This is 2018. This is summer of 2018. It's a year after my dad passed. We're doing some fair shows, and it had rained. And we're doing just like a rant because like we decided we were going to be tagged together. We're going to build this program with another like an older faction from the company because this is mostly all Black Diamond.
Okay.
But we're doing like a random fair show. We're doing a random tag match, and we need to go get some heat. So they give me the microphone, which I'm a fan. Everyone should just do all the time. Give me the mic, and I start cutting this promo about how I don't understand why the fans aren't cheering, why they don't like us, because like we're out there, we're the good guys, we're the better wrestlers, we're the better looking, we're all these things, and just kind of stuck, right?
Okay.
A referee who he actually comes to rest for us now, Josh Shields. His brother was at Black Diamond at the time, and Josh was away at college a couple states over. That weekend, he texts Zach and goes, "Are you guys the Good Guys?" And it's just like it popped him so much, and Zach goes, "That's it. That's our name, the Good Guys." And the idea of the team was like that's all we did. We just played the fact that we thought we were the good guys. We thought we were the baby faces. How don't you like us? Like I'm really good looking. Zach's pretty okay looking. I'm a really good wrestler. He punches and kicks real fucking good. Like how do you not like us? Right?
Okay.
That was the entire thing. Like imagine the way like Undisputed Era was. Like they thought they were the cool guys, but they're really like losers and nerds. Mm-hmm. That was essentially us, except we thought we were like these really good, upstanding guys, but in reality we're just dicks.
Right.
We didn't understand. How can't you like us?
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of how that all started.
Super underrated as a tag team. The chemistry, and you guys are hilarious. I saw you guys recently on Fight Underground. I was watching some Indie Wrestling US, and you guys popped up on there. What was the experience like before you guys hit RSW?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. We were lucky. We have like a really good bond and a friendship over wrestling. Like personality wise, we're very different. But when it comes to wrestling, we can debate and talk wrestling for hours.
Right.
Sometimes it's an argument, and because we have very different views on wrestling. But we've always had a good relationship with one another, especially, and we've had fun car rides to listen to podcasts, right? So the bond was there. Mm-hmm. And then when we really started to figure out like the things that we could do and the dynamic of what we had as a group, like early on we made the comment like I'm a really good wrestler, but Zach was a good worker. Like he like the little things, the nuances, he was a little bit better with than I was because for me, I'm very much. If you watch a lot of the single stuff I do, I'm very rooted in Japanese style. Like I'm very rooted in the strong style. Like there's a lot of character now, but if you watch what I do in the ring, a lot of it's about making it look as real as possible.
Right.
Making it look like a great example, the match with Willie Storm. He might have a scar on his arm from me chopping him. Real thing. I have a message from him saying it. Right? Just like so you put in like the sport and combat and the event of professional wrestling, I'm pretty good at it. The sports entertainment part is where Zach comes in. So dynamically, we've molded well together. Yeah. Because as baby faces, I just took the heat because I could sell and all that. But Zach he's a great apron man, right?
Yeah.
So it really worked. And then when he's coming on the hot tag, got a little bit of fire. He's got that little brawl look. He's got that little like I got all this ass. Let me use this look to him. So it works. And then this baby, Dylan, would you take your tablet somewhere else? Oh, inconsiderate little nugget.
Yeah, some
Oh,
guy comes to his house and does a podcast, and he can't even walk in his kitchen with his tablet.
can't even turn it down. It's like take a break. Selfish. I swear. Some
I
people
knew
should.
this is how we kick off WrestleRoni in 2023. I knew it'd be a good one, but man, we got all the bells and whistles tonight. I love
Oh,
it.
but so tag wise, I'm just drop the baby. That would be terrible,
Oh,
man.
come on now.
Look like a terrible uncle Tristan. But tag wise, like there are some teams we just meshed well with, like phenomenally. Where we've got in the ring with them, we had good matches.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams were like personally, we were really good friends with them, but we just couldn't have good. Great example, Runway, Calvin Couture and Tyler Klein.
Yeah.
In the locker room, like those are buddies of mine. Like I've known Calvin his entire career. Like when he was training, I was helping out with his class. Like it was the year after I trained, I was bumped around. Like I've known him literally from day one. And Tyler, like I've known him since he came to the Pittsburgh area, essentially. And like there's my boys. But like something about us in the ring together. Okay, give me a second to finish the story, and then I'll go put you down. You're so needy. But we just in the ring, like the matches, like just weren't good. They didn't flow.
Huh.
But water. My Lanta. Babies are so loud. But okay.
I know where we were. You was talking about a bad match, so tell me about a good match you guys had before you went to RSW. Your favorite match you had before you hit RSW.
So our favorite match we had before we went to Real Shoot was actually down in Route 33 Wrestling down in Spencer. But Dylan! If he was my kid, I swear, I'd just send him to boarding school. But it was down in Spencer, West Virginia with Route 33 Wrestling. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal little group down there. The owners, great people. The wife has a background in performing arts, so like the nuances of entertainment she really gets. Okay. And I enjoy the environment down there. Now it's a haul of a drive, but it's a fun time. We had this match with a team named the Burrico Boys, right? Two Hispanic kids out of Ohio. I cannot remember Crimpton, maybe. I can't remember the worker names. No. I know their real names. I can't remember their worker names though. But two fun little wrestlers. One wears a hood, a mask. Another one is just really charismatic. Like think like a really skinny Eddie Guerrero.
Okay.
Like that's essentially him, right?
Okay.
And it was the first time we had a match, and honestly, first time both of us, even like as singles, had a match. And when we were done, we just laid there and went, that was fun.
Yeah. Like
there was a good damn match. It was fun. We got stuff in. We tried new stuff. We had a little bit of an accident during the match where someone, ate shit and took a backsplash to the floor.
Oh, okay.
But in our defense, we tried catching him. He flipped in a way that we didn't expect, and he was a little slippery, and we were not close up together, and he hit and slid down, and we just kind of like, oh no, we're going to get down here and sell and make sure you're alive. The video is hilarious, right? Hilarious. Like did like we stole a move from the Young Bucks, the Indie Taker, where they do the pile driver with the the leap or the springboard. No. But I caught the dude when he did a dive, turned him to it, and then Zach just jumped off the apron and I did the power driver on this dude onto the concrete floor. Great spot, phenomenal, nice. Right? But it was a good little match. Like I said, when we got done, we were hyped about the match,
Right.
and that was the first time we were like, you know what? Because for Zach, he hadn't really worked that like fast-paced style before because it was very fast. It wasn't like AAA Luchador fast. It was much more of the super indie speed that we're accustomed to in the US now.
Right.
And it was just, like I said, it was fun. And for me, like, as much as like I look at wrestling as it's fun and I love it, a lot of times I look at it like it's a job. And my goal is to go out there. If I feel like I had fun, that's great. But if I don't think it was good, like I don't think the crowd was into it, if I think something was missing, like it's not a good one. Like a recent example is the match we had with Violent Party. When we were done, like me and Dustin, we were not satisfied with that match. we're like, with the experience we had, with the talent we have, all four of us, the match, we should feel better about that match, and we just didn't. Okay. And it wasn't that and I've watched it back. The match wasn't bad, but there was more we could have done. That I think if it would have been like our first time in New Kensington, it would have felt a little different. But we're brand new there. There's no real pop there. The surprise was me and Zach coming back to the tag team together. But we're in a place that didn't really know us as a tag team because we didn't wrestle in Pittsburgh as a team.
Yeah.
So it's like it didn't really matter. So it's like the story we tried to tell didn't matter. So like the match was just kind of like a one-off match that just kind of like existed. So one of those ones that.
If you watch that footage when Zach comes out, he comes out behind you and he says, "And nobody knows who the fuck we are."
Exactly, yeah. It's like because the people that are like from the area that are wrestlers or fans of like the local area knew us, but guys are just like that are fans of the company that runs there and are like of like the Enjoy company up that way.
Yeah.
Like they don't know us because we don't wrestle there.
Yep.
And like I said, and by the time a lot of those companies started popping off, I was already gone from Pittsburgh. You know, I was already like I left Pittsburgh years prior to that, really, and it was just like the places that would have known me aren't there. It's not their demographic, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things that's like looking back, like I said, the match was fine. It was a fine match, like little mistakes here and there, but again, like the four of us had never wrestled together at the same time. I was the only one that had worked with Vance or with Dustin. Actually, that might have been the first time I worked with Dustin at all.
Okay. Wow.
But I've worked with Vance before. It's like, and like we're all buddies, but it's like there was something that was just like it was just missing from that match that like it could have been a good match. It was kind of like an okay match, right?
Good. I loved it. I thought it was a good one. We've never got Frat Daddy and Dustin Alexander 1-on-1.
I don't think so. Because here's the thing. Dustin just came back in July to Real Shoot.
Okay.
And prior to that, like our paths just never crossed. Like he's out in Ohio a lot, and I'm in certain places in Ohio, but I spent a lot more time in Jersey than I did Ohio.
Okay. What was you doing in Jersey?
See, I was working with SWF out there, which
okay.
I think they're still going. It's Rob Fury's promotion. Now the guy who is his booker, he's split off. He's doing his own thing. There's a couple different places out there that got some stud talents. A lot of them come from Pat Buck's WrestlePro. Some of them come from Monster Factory, but a ton are from WrestlePro. And I mean, Pat Buck, in my opinion, is one of the best trainers in the entire country, let alone the Northeast. You know, him, Brian Myers, like the WrestlePro and WrestlePro New York, like those. I mean, if they're pumping out talent like nobody's business. I mean, like the Max Cash of the world, the Chris Statlanders, the Mark Sterlings, Anthony Bowens, like underrated guy. I think both the Grayson brothers are from Pat's camp.
Old boy from Judgment Day, Damian Priest.
He's a Monster Factory guy. Yeah, he came from Danny Cage's camp.
Okay. See, I mix them up all the time. That's why.
Yeah, I met Priest years ago when he was still at Monster Factory. It was probably a year before he got signed. Great dude, like great cat. Like when he got signed, I was so hyped. Like it was so cool.
Yeah, I've heard good things. That brings up a good point. We're talking about bookers leaving, different changes in companies. Very interesting turn of events. Either late last year or early, I don't know, but recently in RSW, there was a bit of a regime change. Some folks left, and they needed someone to train at their school, to be a head trainer. And how'd this all come about? Why you? How?
Well, so that was, again, happenstance. There was the guy training there, so after the regime change, the guy that was training there, no, don't touch anything, weirdo.
That's why I watched it.
No, don't touch stuff. Not your computer anyway.
There is a turtle.
I don't think this goes on here, buddy.
What?
Because it doesn't fit in there. Yeah, this
You
might be
have to put it on his hands.
On his hands.
Yeah.
Why did you tell me that? Kids, then no communication.
Hey, little buddy, you like wrestling?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
I'm gonna watch the octopus.
The octopus. He would actually probably love Jonathan Gresham.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
want to watch an octopus.
Go play. I love you. You're the
Love
best.
you too.
You're my favorite nephew.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
He's the only one.
Ah, well, let him think.
So back to so after the regime change, there was actually a different trainer, and it just didn't work out. I mean, great guy, phenomenal talent, like an amazing wrestler, but it just didn't work out. His schedule, it just wasn't working out.
Okay.
So they were kind of just having practice on their own. One of the other guys who's involved in the front office was helping run stuff. And he hasn't really wrestled for, I want to say probably 10, maybe more years. A great dude, extremely knowledgeable. I mean, a wealth of knowledge.
Okay.
But it just wasn't like they wanted some extra time. So kind of under the radar, Dee Weiss and Marcus Swiss actually asked me to come down and work out with them.
Okay.
And then I was like, well, I can make this drive. It's a bit of a drive for me, but I was just trying to get some extra ring time anyway. So really I just came down. We were just having extra workout sessions.
Huh.
And then I was coming down to help out when they were having class. And then there was actually a class where I think what happened was, and I thought this was actually going to be the time I was asked not to come back anymore.
Okay.
We were doing practice matches. And now it might have just been the fact it was a practice match, but it didn't sit right with me. And one of the younger kids, I'm not going to shout his name out because I don't want to make it seem like I'm burying him. I'll bury people tonight, don't worry. But he's a good cat.
Okay.
One of the younger talents, he was throwing chops, but when he was doing it, he was slapping his leg. Right? I'm like, listen. I said, don't do it again. Don't do it. He did it 3 or 4 times. So when the match was over, I told him to get in the corner, and then we all just lit him up. Everyone went through the cycle and just kept chopping it.
Oh shit!
Right? He probably hit him like 6 or 7 times, and the next day I get a call from Tim's partner. He goes, "Hey, I want to talk to you about training," and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna be asked not to come back ever again." And he goes, "Hey, what happened at practice? Like, that was the right thing." He goes, you set a standard. You said, hey, this is the standard. Achieve it or don't do it at all. And you kind of there were repercussions for it. And I was like, I'm gonna get called a bully. And I was like, oh, that's it. My career's canceled. I was like, hashtag canceled. And he goes, how would you feel about coming down as the full-time trainer? Because I was asked if I would come down like part-time whenever the other guy couldn't be there. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's no problem. But they're like, how would you feel about being the full-time trainer here and taking over the school? And a lot of people that know me know that my entire goal, like the only reason I ever wanted to get to Japan or to NXT was because I want to train. Like I've always been a coach. I've always been a trainer of helping people. I've always been like, that's my thing. I feel like my place in life is to give back and to serve others. And wrestling is one of those things that I do kind of well. Right. And I train really well too. At one point in time, it was last year, night one of WrestleMania, said partner, we're sitting talking about training, and he made the comment and it put a chip on my shoulder. It did. And I think it really paid off for me. But he said, no offense, but you're a better trainer than you are a worker.
Okay.
And I took that. I tried to play it off. I played it off very cool, but I took it too hard. And again, I wasn't offended, but I was like, well, I'm gonna prove that statement wrong as fuck.
Okay.
I think this past year, since then, I think I've done so. I think I've done. I still think I'm probably still a better trainer than I am a worker, but I'm pretty fucking good in the ring.
I say it all the time. The proof's in the pudding. You made a fan of me before I knew you. I was on the fucking bandwagon, believe me.
Because I jumped off that fucking truck like a G.
Well, that's what you got. That'll get you a fan or two.
The G play was to jump off of a box truck as a heel. That was really the turn for the Frat Daddy becoming a full-time babyface, was jumping off of a box truck and doing some real babyface shit.
I'm glad you said that because that sets up my question perfectly. How did we evolve into Frat Daddy? For the folks that didn't follow the storyline, give me some shoot and cave. Just give me your psychology to it. How did we get there?
Storyline wise, there was no story. It was, I said I'm going to do it, and I started doing it.
Okay.
Now, the story behind it, where it came from, was one day we're at practice, and I won't say who this was about, but I was wearing my button-up and a pair of khaki shorts because I didn't feel like changing after I went whatever I did that day.
Okay.
I think I might have been showing a house or might have been doing something with real estate. but I wasn't changing, and I didn't take gear with me, so I was like, this is fine. I'm just gonna do this. And I'm just gonna coach today. I'm not gonna get in the ring. I don't feel like wrestling today. I'm tired. I'm beat up. I don't want to do it.
Okay.
But as these two guys were working through some spots and some techniques, things they want to try to implement, I was like, hold on, let me show you how this is supposed to look, right?
Okay.
So I started doing it again. I'm wearing a button-up shirt, khaki shorts, and a pair of knockoff Vans that I buy at Walmart because I'm not paying $40 when I can get them for 15, right? I'm a good adult, right?
Yep.
And at one point in time, Tim Cross goes, "You're doing their stuff better than they are, and they're in gear." Right?
Okay.
So that started a running joke of I'm going to stop wearing gear. I'm just going to wear this all the time because if I can, what's the point of wearing gear if I can wrestle in this kind of stuff? Why invest money in new gear when I can go to Gabe's and buy my whole ensemble for $40? Right?
Oh, shit.
Right? Because again, I'm a good economical adult, right? And then we just started joking around about like what kind of things we could do with it, and like again, a lot of it was in jest. A lot of it was like saying, "Hey, this is something we could do funny wise," and I was like, and we're trying to put together and figure it out. And like I was like, "Well, I'm a heel. I got to make money somehow." And I was like, "Wait a minute. I'm gonna just have a cookout out of the back of Tim's truck, take a grill, make burgers, and charge people money. That's how I'm gonna make my merch money, is selling cheeseburgers and hot dogs, right?"
Right.
And this is in March. It's my March or April. It's before we really start getting to like the fairs and the summer stuff that we do, and like all like the 75 bookings in a 2-month period, right?
Okay, right. And this is just this past year, 2022.
This past year, yeah, 2022. And we get to a show. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly how we got to the whole Frat Daddy thing, but I was making a joke, like at practice, and one day I was like, I'm just living like I was in college. Like I'm just doing the same thing I did when I was 23, 24 years old. Just now I'm 33. And I'm just gonna have fun. Right. And I was just doing this at practice all the time, and it just kind of evolved. And then one day, me and Tim are talking. He goes, "I need you to start wearing gear," and I said, "Absolutely not." Because it was the summer. It's hot. I'm not wearing tights. Like I was kind of chubby at the time still. Like I'd been in the gym pretty hard for the last like year and a half. But I was still pretty soft in the middle, so I wasn't in like tights and no shirt, shape. Right. Still not there after looking at some of the pictures from my match with Jake Ely. Not happy about how I look there, but that's because I have an ego and I want to look a certain way, right?
Right on.
But I digress. But I told him I was like, absolutely not. I was like, here's why. Here's what's up. You gotta think about it this way. I am essentially a college kid home from college for the summer. I'm drinking. I'm partying. Why am I gonna wear gear? That's business attire. This ain't business season, baby. And that's how it started. And then I was like, once we get back to like school years in, I'll wear gear. And then I didn't have gear made because I didn't really anticipate things happening this way. But now I'm getting gear and everything made so I can wear gear during the regular year and whatnot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because I've got a set of gear I had done. I had an old set of gear that I had because I was like, I want to get something done for when I had the match with Jake and Managa. Mm-hmm. And so I took an old set of gear and I gave it to the young lady that makes a lot of the T-shirts and the merch. I was like, hey, can you strip this and put a new logo on it for me?
Okay.
And it's the Frat Daddy logo. Like So if you bought one of my shirts, right?
I did, and then it didn't fit.
Did it not fit?
And then I still got to buy a shirt.
Oh, that's right. It
was Christmas party. I understand.
I feel bad. It should have fit.
Yeah, I'm fat, bro.
You say you're fat, but you're not. See, I know who wears double XLs and who wears triple XLs. You don't wear a triple.
In a month I will.
Well, stop that. Go the other direction. Anyway, the logo is like the silhouette of legitimately me drinking out of a blender cup, right?
Okay.
I had a cup at practice. I had one of the kids who's a photographer who does a lot of our stuff. I had him take pictures. I was like, I need promo pictures. Take this picture of me drinking this because it's gonna be me drinking stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, hey, can we take this, make this a silhouette, and put on the shirt because this is again a running joke. Frat Daddy self-destruction tour.
Uh-huh.
Because 2023, I was like, this whole year is about me just self-destructing because my life is a fucking mess, right? And that logo's on my gear. That's going to be the logo I put on most of my gear from now on. It's just like, and it's all things that just kind of happened by accident because of just jokes I was telling and just having fun. And it just kind of stuck.
Well, and the T-shirts are fire, by the way. I can't wait to get one.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are dope. You definitely
I,
got a game plan.
I do think I told her to make one in the in a bigger size. I think I told her. I can't remember if I did or not because I can't remember because she only made so many shirts the first run. Now I have all the shirts now. I just have to look at the sizes.
Fair enough. We'll get
But yeah,
around to it, and I'll try to quit eating as much as I do, walk a little bit more, and if we gotta do double X, we will.
just got to go get into the gym, pick up some weights, and put them down.
No.
Walking, because here's the thing, I'm gonna blow your mind.
Okay.
Blow your mind. I know a thing or two about fitness. I am a trainer, right? I'm a personal trainer too. So metabolism is how our body burns energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Calories out versus calories in. You want to burn fat, you need to consume less calories than you burn, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So if I eat 2,500 calories a day, but my maintained calorie is 3,000, I'm gonna lose fat because I'm eating less than what I burn, right?
Okay.
So, do you know how you increase your metabolism and increase your body's need to burn more?
How?
By building muscle, because muscle requires more energy to sustain. Therefore, weight training is factually better for your health than walking.
Really?
See, the thing is, we haven't been lied to, right? Because motion is lotion. Something is better than nothing, right? But exercising for the sake of exercising versus exercising for the sake of training your body to be better and improve your quality of life are two very different things, right?
Okay.
I used to go to the gym and work out, lift kind of hard. I wasn't eating right, and I literally put on no size. I got stronger, but I didn't grow at all, right?
Okay.
In 2017, 2018, I was 185 pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I right now am about 205.
Okay.
I look a whole lot better at 205 than I did at 185, though.
Right.
Now, at 185, I was arguably, accessory-wise, as strong as I am now. But now, when it comes to like tonnage and movement, ability to move like in like the Olympic lifts and the strength lifts, I'm stronger now than I was then,
Okay.
right? Because I learned how to eat, I learned how to build muscle, right? So when I want to because I weigh more, but my body fat is lower, I can eat a little bit more food and still burn it and not go up or down in weight, right? So that's the thing. Like the doctors will tell you, you got to go out there and you got to exercise. But the moment you pick up weight, you're now a strength athlete. So treat yourself like an athlete, train like an athlete, and that's how you burn fat. I've been trying to tell some of my asshole kids at the school for years that. Some of them are starting to listen.
Okay.
Some.
I might take you up on your advice as well. We might 2023 Frat Daddy might get old Spooky Lou in shape for the first time in years. You never know. It might get crazy.
Listen, I can work miracles, Lou. Not with everybody, because some people don't want to listen, but
that's a good point. That brings me back to a question I missed, and I definitely want to get some answers on. Who has listened to Frat Daddy's training? Who do you see out there going right now that you're proud of and is making Papa proud?
I'll be honest. All of the kids that I've worked with on a routine basis, and most of which aren't even actually my kids. They're all my stepkids.
Okay.
They came from a different trainer.
Right.
Dee Dee Weiss, Marcus Twist, Billy Knox. And Brother Duzan. They're not my kids, but I have for either most of or all of their careers been involved some way, shape, or form or another, right?
Okay.
And those kids absolutely just crushing it, working really hard. In my opinion, the one that, because I've seen I know some of his struggles, I've seen some of the personal things he's dealt with, a lot of the being unsure of himself, a lot of the confidence issues just in life in general, not just as a performer. But Brother Duzan, I told him to his face, I'm so incredibly proud of that kid.
Yeah.
Because he's been pushed around, he's been bullied by other veterans, and he's been kind of made to be a whipping boy in some sense. I mean, that kid absolutely, he'll give you everything he's got and then some. And one of those kids I cannot be more proud of. Now, don't get me wrong. Billy, Mark, and Dee Dee, I love seeing what they're doing. Like, especially like all three of them come so far since I started working with them last year. Especially Saturday Night Special. Like those two kids have grown so much, and like it's their biggest problem when I first came around was the ego. It was absolutely ego, and really came down to having a good conversation with the right people in the right places to really get their heads where they needed to be, and to be given an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, they were given an opportunity for a pretty significant feud with the company with me and Zach, and you know, I was told my job is to get to bring the best out of them, and I can comfortably say that that's exactly what I did.
Yep. For sure. And those names you named, let's take a look at RSW from September till December. And the hottest things going, that feud, the match at Fairmont State, the match at Monongah, the whole thing, just fucking magic. Kudos to you, kudos to them. I'm so glad I got to be a part of that.
And the thing, and you know what? As much as those two kids or those four kids, great work. There's two young kids now. Also Austin. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Austin. Austin he's working mostly as a manager right now. He's doing some stuff with the end. That kid, legitimately from the previous regime, I've got no problem talking about it. He was bullied. He was treated like he's someone's little bitch, and he was pushed out because he was tired of being like essentially just someone's whip. He was exactly that. He was someone's mule horse. He was their pack mule. Did everything for them. Drove them around. Like absolutely was abused and taken advantage of. So he left. And then after I took over, he was talking to Tim, and Tim's like, "Hey, Tristan's taking over," and he was like, "I'm coming back." And he works hard. The kid has zero athleticism. He cannot save his life to play a sport. Legitimately, we've had to teach him how to run, how to throw a ball. But the he's got heart, right?
Right on.
And he's a great talker. Like when he gets out of his own head, he's a great talker. He's got a background in theater as well, so he can do character. And I think if he really puts his mind to it, he could, if he wanted to, he could be an adequate wrestler. There's some places he falls short again with athleticism, and just athletics in general that I don't think are unreasonable to get to one day. It's just it's a little bit harder with him than it is with some of the other guys because he just has no background in it, right? So, but those guys, and then there's two kids that are trainees now, per se, that have been around. They're my first set of real kids, right? We call him Derek. His name is also Dakota. Great kid. You'll hear us, damn it, Derek. Like, that's what he gets. And that was because Tim Cross called him the wrong name one day, and it stuck. And then Garrison. Garrison, legitimately, when he came for his tryout, he tore both his quads.
Oh, wow.
He tore them doing squats. He then came back, and then while we're talking about, like, jumping over the ropes, like doing a little slingshot into the ring, and he was talking about how he can't do it. And I was pointing out the fact, like, I was like, you can if you want to. You just haven't gotten there, and you'll have to learn. And I did it, right? And he goes to do it, but again, I didn't realize there's not really an athletic background here either. He's holding the ropes the wrong way with his hands, and he tries to go, like, he goes and tries to lean the opposite direction when he needs to, catches his leg on the top rope, and legitimately breaks his leg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, legitimately broke his leg.
After
right?
a quad tear, comes back, then breaks his leg.
Yeah, like, and I'm thinking, like, he goes, I fractured my kneecap. Like, no, you didn't. Your kneecap is fine. His kneecap was fine. He just broke his fibia.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like, broke that motherfucker, right? And he's recovering now. Like, and that kid, he's got heart. He's got try for days.
Okay.
But he's another one. Like, I told him, I was like, when you're able to come back, I'm legitimately going to start you over from learning how to walk as an athlete. It's like, I'm going to treat you like you're one of my 5 or 6-year-olds that I've coached in sports before, because, like, the fundamentals of movement in an athletic sense aren't there. I was like, we got to start somewhere. And again, that kid, I mean, he's creative, he's hungry, he wants it. It's just the kid's held together by string cheese and silly putty.
I'm looking forward to the new crop. I wish them all the best. There's a ton of potential there. And like I say, the current crop obviously killing it. RSW, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, not just mine, is on fire right now. What does this look like as opposed to maybe this time last year with the prior folks? Tell me about the past compared to the present.
This time last year might have been. I've been in a few locker rooms in my time. I'm only 7 years in, but I've been around some good people. I've been around some bad people.
Okay.
And the locker room as a whole was very toxic. Now it wasn't because of the locker room or the roster in general, but it's because of one or two people that were very clearly, it was their way or no way, and they were manipulative, they were mean, they were absolute bullies, they were liars. They said things and treated the students and the roster members of the younger roster members in a way that they're like, it made veterans and other guys want to not come back, and that's why our roster was mostly all young kids and kids that were coming in for fairly inexpensive rates because they didn't have anywhere else to go yet.
Right.
And some of those guys are still around. Some of those guys are absolutely crushing it. But it was a lot of, for lack of a better phrase, just abusing power and abusing young, immature performers.
Right.
And even as far as taking some on the road and telling them they're doing it for free, it's for the exposure. But then allegedly, I was not there, but allegedly getting a payday that was supposed to be split with them and keeping their split.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Now, again, that's allegedly. That's a story that I've been told. I don't have a problem saying it out loud because if they want to come after me, come after me.
Right.
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 I don't care. I can fight.
What about the positive? Goodness, what the hell was that? What's going on right now? I had to cough that up there. That was weird.
The positives is the fact that the locker room is entirely different. Like the atmosphere of the locker room is entirely different. Like when Dustin and his wife came back, Vance Desmond came back, like all these guys came back, and it's noticeably different. There are people that have never been here before. There's people that have come back, and they've come back because they were told, "Hey, this person is gone."
Right.
Right. And again, it's just because they had such a bad rapport with that person. I mean, it's public, it's out there, so I think I can talk about this. Jeff Paul down at PWL talked about how him and Tim Cross had heat and had never met.
Right.
They had never spoken, but didn't like each other because of somebody else. Right.
Right.
It's like, so like I said, I have a problem saying it because it's been posted on Facebook. It's public. Yeah. We've all commented on it. Thousands of people have seen it. I don't care, right?
And here's the thing: there's a lot of that going on that hasn't been public as well. Like it's been just from the little bit I know. There's a lot of bridges being built again.
Yeah, there's a ton of bridges that are being rebuilt. Some up in Pennsylvania, some just out in Ohio. Some there are bridges being rebuilt. That I do think that the core group of guys from Real Shoot that are branching out and going these other places as well. It's going to help continue building a good name, continue building good relationships, and it's going to help put on some really awesome fucking shows.
For sure.
I'm excited. I missed the show on the 4th, down with PWL, and because I was supposed to wrestle Jeff Paul, and I was stoked for that. But things happened. I had to coach my kid in priorities. I have to, she does take priority, and I wasn't able to make it. So I was a little bummed about that. But that's a relationship. That's a company where we've built a pretty good relationship with them in a very short time.
Yeah. And
it's led to people coming back and forth. It's led to some good matches and some awesome opportunities in the future. So it's like the future of tri-state area wrestling in Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. The future of it is no longer Real Shoot on the outside looking in. It's Real Shoot's a big part of it. Yep. Real Shoot's a big part of building and cultivating a new environment for some younger talent.
Yep. I'm real excited about the relationship with PWL. I was super impressed with what I saw down there with my own eyes this weekend. They got a damn good thing going, and going up to MV's place up in New Ken. And that crew, I mean, it's awesome. It's on and popping. You take these powers combined. I've been saying it, and I'm so glad to hear you say it. Like, this is the year for this area. I can't wait.
I've said it for a long time. Especially like it's when we talk about Pittsburgh wrestling still it's Eastern Ohio, it's Northern West Virginia, it's the western part of the Panhandle. It's really Erie down and like Johnstown west, right?
Mm-hmm.
Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and Altoona area. That's Pittsburgh wrestling, right? Because like that is the main hub for all of these areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you come from Pittsburgh, like if you think the WWF days, right? When Vince Sr. was still in charge, right?
Uh-huh.
He had 5 major cities he hit, right? New York, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, and I want to say Philly, right?
Okay.
The reason Pittsburgh's on there is because it's a wrestling town.
Yep.
Right? People say it's a sports town. Like, no. It's a wrestling town with a sports problem.
Okay.
Right? Like, here's the thing. The longest reigning pre-modern day champion of all time was Bruno Sammartino.
Yep.
Right? So, one of the greatest professional wrestlers, like most natural wrestlers of all time, Kurt Angle, is from Mount Lebanon.
Yep.
Right? Britt Baker's from Punxsutawney. Elias is from Butler. Like,
I watched Elias on a bunch of indie shows.
Right. Joaquin Wild, right?
Yep.
DJ Z.
Him too.
He's from Northern West Virginia. He broke in at IWC in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Right.
Watched him
Like
on
all
a lot
these
of shows.
like you see guys like Jason Gorey, Facade, Chris Taylor, like a lot of guys who like they not peak. Peak is not the word, but they kind of like they didn't expand to what they could have. Are, in my opinion, some of the guys who could have been massive stars in a different era. Honestly, some of them even in this era. If they'd have broken in like 3 or 4 years later, they'd be like the guys that are being like I think personally, like a Jason Gorey could have been in that first Cruiserweight Classic, right?
Okay.
I think if he'd have started a few years later and he was a different place in life at the time, I think he'd have been there, right? Like, you see guys like Victor Benjamin, like Lady Frost, right? She's down doing stuff with with CMLL now, right? She had a contract with Impact that like things weren't going the way like that either any of them thought. So she's like, hey, you know what? Let's just end this. I'm gonna go do some other things, right? First ever women's tag tournament champion, right? It was a tag team women's tournament. Her and her partner won, right? She's from Pittsburgh, right? It's like there's a lot of people like that are from the area that I think in the next couple years, people are going to really start realizing that so much talent comes from Pittsburgh that it's a place that you should actually go out of your way to go to. And again, when I say Pittsburgh, I mean the surrounding areas, like out to Youngstown, down towards Wheeling, down towards Fairmont, all these areas. I'm saying Pittsburgh wrestling as this greater encompassed area.
Yep. I watched Jason Kincaid on shows here in Fairmont. Look at Jock Sampson, saw him in Clarksburg. Chance Prophet. So many unsung heroes too.
Magnum CK, Chris Kahn. But one, in my opinion, one of the greatest professional wrestlers to never get signed to a major company.
Okay.
I think Magnum, and I think people would really. I think a lot of people will agree with me. Magnum CK is an amazing professional wrestler and sports entertainer.
Okay.
The man can do it all, and I really think that if he wanted to, or again, if life was a little bit different, like situations in life were not what they were at the time when he decided to step away from wrestling, I think he probably could have made a really big name for himself outside of like the independent darlings.
Right on. Right on. Like I say, we just had Jamie Noble have his retirement match. Let's give Violent Vance Desmond his due while we're at it. Dude, we have such a jewel on our roster right there.
What, 20 years, something like that? Like
every match I watched of his growing up at indie shows was the best match on the show. Killed it every single, and still does.
When I see guys like Vance Desmond, I think of like Chris Taylor, Ryan Mitchell, John Bolin, a lot of those guys who they were kind of towards like Vance is still actively going full time, right?
Killing it.
Guys who are a little more towards the end of their careers when I first broke in, like I wish I'd have either broke in sooner or started watching the independents sooner because like I missed out on guys like that. Now I'm really good friends. Like I'm close and really good friends with a lot of those names, right?
Right.
Guys who like I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Guys who I know if I needed to call and just talk about something, I could call and just talk about something, right? Like tremendous human beings that I would have loved to have spent more time around.
Right. Right. And but again, great legacy of the past, but we've got a hell of a present as well. I mean, like I said, with everything going on and all around the area, man, you talk about just the talent that just comes from Ohio, your Jake Ely's and the whole crew, Rad Boys and VCW killing it. Beastman with a hell of a product. I watched him in Fairmont years ago. Bulldozer.
Let me take a real quick pause.
Okay.
Gotta go play Uncle again.
Bulldozer. I said Bulldozer, and he just got up and left. Oh no.
Okay.
All right. I tell you what, I'll fire some fan questions at you, and I'll let you live the life.
Absolutely. Whatever you want to do, brother. I'm here as long as you need me to be.
I appreciate you. I'm just going to take them in the order they were received. The first fan question comes from the great Fate's messenger himself, Billy Knox. This is a good one, though. When I first read it, I laughed, but I think we could get a 2-hour answer out of this question. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
It's very simple, very to the point. Why are you the way that you are?
Trauma.
Okay.
No, so in reality, whether in ring wise, it's because I have a chip on my shoulder. The attitude, the personality, I have fun, and my point is to be like I look at like guys like Cole Cabana, Danhausen, guys having fun that can absolutely fucking go.
Yeah.
Right? They do it their way. And my thing was, I know that I'm not, especially with like the whole Frat Daddy thing. You come to a show, you see a guy with a sleeves rolled up, a button up, khaki shorts, and a white claw. Like you don't look at that guy and take him seriously at first. So why am I gonna come out and try to be real big and tough, right? I'm gonna come out and have fun.
Yeah,
that's what I do. And it makes sense. Now, personally, why am I the way that I am? Because I have a history of bless you. I know it's a bird. My background is in sports. It's in performance. It's in a lot of different aspects, and a lot of it was me seeking approval from people around me. Okay. It was me trying to find a way to be good enough, and I never felt like I was. So I've had a personal chip on my shoulder for decades, and it's made me very cold, bitter, and for lack of a better phrase, I am a cunt. That's just who I am. To a fault, and okay. I accept it. I try to grow and be better. That's why I do so much to try to help others, because personality-wise, thank you, buddy. That's exactly what I need. Nope, you don't want that? Okay. Personality-wise, like it is, for lack of a better phrase, it is a facade. It's a show. It's a shell, because it's a defense mechanism. Well, I am. There's a lot of people very close to me that will tell you I'm very sweet, I'm passionate, I'm caring, I'm dedicated to people around me. One of my closest friends in the world right now, and probably will be for the rest of my life, is Dustin Alexander. Mm-hmm. I have messaged that man about something that is relatively irrelevant to life while I was in tears talking to him. There's a few people that understand there's a lot more to me than what this like little layers that people see. Mm. And I made this comment to somebody very recently. What people see is what I want them to see. It's what I allow them to see. It's the depths of which I allow them to go.
Yep.
So, why am I the way that I am? It's because I don't trust anyone. And it's not their fault. It's mine. But I emotionally, mentally, and to an extent, emotionally, mentally, and maturity-wise, am not in a position where I'm going to trust anybody to a certain extent. There's certain people that I will just never trust. And again, no fault of their own, but I have allowed people to break down my barriers before, and it's led me into very dark places. This time last year, I was planning my suicide.
Wow.
This time last year, I had zero intention on being alive today. And I am. But at times, I'm not in a position mentally where I should be. I have no problem admitting it that I go to therapy because I need to, and I think a lot of other people should because we don't talk enough about our mental health, particularly as men. And I know that it's because a lot of us are afraid of our emotions and our feelings being used against us, whether it be professionally, whether it be relationship wise. But I mean, that's why that I am the way that I am. Again, not because anybody has really made me untrusting, but it's because I've allowed people in that, their better option in life was to no longer be in my life. And that broke me. And so I've used that as fuel to sometimes unjustly push other people away when they want to be close to me, but I don't want them to be.
It makes sense. I'm sure it makes sense to everybody. I appreciate the sincerity in the answer. I'm glad that you made the right decision and you're here still touching lives, putting smiles on faces, training the next generation, even, man. Like, you're doing good things. You're here. You have a purpose. You're shining. You're doing great. I'm glad you're on the show. I'm glad you're a friend. I'm glad you're on here. Good answer. You want to hear from Dee Vice?
I do. I love this question, actually.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me see. Because I've read it like 4 times and I don't know, but here we go. What's it like being college educated? Saturday night special.
So, Dee Vice has tried to make the joke that we're just the same person, but I went to college.
Okay.
The thing is, when Saturday Night Special started, right, when I first took over the school, when I was first helping those guys develop their personality and their attitude and figure out who they are, and I started joking around about the Frat Daddy, Dee Vice was just a guy who couldn't escape the 80s. His whole personality was pit vipers and bright colors. And Marcus Twist was a fucking candy man. Yeah. Okay? So I'm not a college-educated Saturday Night Special. They just learned how to have a fucking gimmick.
Fair enough.
Love you, Dee Vice.
Yeah, I mean, he threw you the softball and you cracked it there. That's the way it works.
I told you, shooting season, brother. Pew pew.
Nick Griffin, commissioner of Victory Championship Wrestling, writes in, why did you try to steal my family in Black Diamond Wrestling?
Because his wife is way too hot for him, but just hot enough for me.
Okay.
Does have and his son wife. Loves me. His son loves me, and don't let Nick fool you. He loves me too.
Yeah. We're going to get to another one that I have those feelings. I feel the same way. Honey Badger just has a screenshot of literally her removing me as a friend.
Wait, was it just you or is it me?
No, it's me. It's
okay.
Me. She wasn't too happy about the Roni Awards either.
That's fair. That's fair. She said it was rigged. The Capitol's going to be stormed because of it. I love Honey Badger.
Oh man!
I hear she makes amazing biscuits.
Jesus.
I
thought
I don't know. I don't know because I have a very strict diet, so I don't eat pastries. But I hear amazing things about Honey Badger's biscuits. The Badger's biscuits, if you will.
Man, had me talking nonsense. That's I don't know. I don't know. Like,
listen, good sweet will do that to you.
Ronnie Starks writes in, you and this guy, man, every time I'm around you two, just it's chaos.
Who'd he ever beat?
It's not even a question. It's the answer you're looking for is fuck no. He didn't even have a question.
That's in his defense. It's because he thinks people are going to watch his interview, but in reality, the only people that are going to watch his interview are him and his mom.
Well, I appreciate the views. Hopefully Mama likes it and watches it a couple times. If she give me a like, I'll take it.
Probably not.
Marcus Twist here. Oh, God. This has been just... And we might as well bring it up. This is an RSW product, so let's get it out in the open for the folks. Let's hear your thoughts. Marcus Twist wanted me to ask about the puppet.
Listen, I don't know anything about the puppet, but I want to suplex it. I want to lock it up in a Saito and drop it right on his fucking head.
Do you think the wrestler will have puppets and he'll like have him do a little puppet show at intermission? Or
I don't even care because he's gonna get dropped on his head too.
They went all around the world to shoot this video. It's like in Paris. It's in the mountains of Switzerland.
Time out. Did they go all around the world, or did he just have really good shots in Las Vegas?
It looks authentic. And I recognize those fingers from somebody. I tell you that. We'll discuss that when we get off the air. But I seen them chubby digits. We got one more from the great Dustin Alexander. Ask about the Latinos he hides in his basement.
First of all, I don't have a basement. I have a storm cellar because my house was built in the 1900s in a coal mining town. Okay, there's no Latinos. Okay, there's no Latinas in my basement because I dated a Latina one time. Let me tell you, that did not end well. However, she's engaged now. Happy for her and her fiance.
This says Latinos. Latinas is female.
Latinos?
Yeah.
See, I can't talk about those guys. It's not about, they're not locked in my storm cellar. They have access to my storm cellar because I pay them handsomely to take care of my plumbing.
Okay. So they're not necessarily trapped, but you are hiding them from certain authorities.
Because I don't want other people to know, because here's the thing. If I tell them about them, they'll try to hire them, and then they're not on call for when I need them to come do something for me.
Fair.
Like, listen, it's like when you have a good bookkeeper or a good accountant, you don't tell people, you just pay them well.
Yup. I got, like, if you have a good podcast guy.
Yeah.
People are going, but, take care of them, look out for them. I got you. I feel it.
That's why I don't promote the podcast for the guy that I normally go to.
Okay, I got you. Fair enough. Before I let you go, what do we see in 2023 as far as Real Shoot Wrestling? What would you like to see accomplished? Are you excited? Who would you like to wrestle? Let's look to the future. In a perfect world, in a perfect Frat Daddy world, what's Real Shoot looking like this year? The whole scene, fuck it, because we're part of the whole scene. What's the whole Pittsburgh scene, as you titled it? What's it looking like?
I really want to see a lot more of the guys from Pittsburgh getting some opportunities on Elevation, on Dark in general, on Dynamite, on Rampage. I want to see guys getting out to NXT. I want to see guys this time next year. I want to see more Pittsburgh guys out of the Battle of Los Angeles at PWG. I want to see guys at New Japan Strong. I want to see guys at Noah. I want to see Pittsburgh guys representing. I say guys, but I mean wrestlers in general, men, the women, he, she's, theys, and gays. I want to see them representing the Pittsburgh area more and representing their small towns too. Too many of us go like, oh, I'm from Pittsburgh. But so many of us from these small little towns are like essentially racist little bigoted towns. But represent where we came from. Like represent that some of us come from some pretty shitty places. Talk about it and talk about how we got out, and we're trying to make them better places because we got out.
Hell yeah. I like that. Yup, you're talking, hey, I'm in Monongah, baby. You've wrestled in Monongah, small town USA.
Damn it, Derek, because he blew out the generator in the circuits for the entire fucking town the first show.
For real. Legit, my power went out, bro. Like, I'm 5 minutes away. I didn't have power, thanks.
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
It sounds like it. It definitely sounds like it. Frat Daddy, it has been an absolute pleasure. This is how we kick off 2023. How we ended 2022. On a big note there. I wish you the best. I thank you.
I appreciate it, Lou.
Buy a Frat Daddy t-shirt. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know if you're aware, tune in Thursday and check out a Frat Daddy match on the first episode of RSW TV.
Wait a minute. I have a match on it? I didn't know that.
We're taking it back to the 5-year anniversary show, and
that was an awesome match. That's an awesome match. There's a really good clip of me dropping someone right on their big ass head.
Well, I edited that bad boy up. It looks beautiful. Thursdays at noon. Every Thursday at noon, you can watch Frat Daddy. The good guys might pop up in a match. You never know. Zach Myers, Billy Knox, the whole crew. Next up, we got Ronnie Starks on WrestleRoni. Are you excited for that?
Perfect. I'm not going to watch, but fuck Ronnie Starks.
Fair enough. You two always beefing. I thank you. I want the listeners to be kind to each other. Stand up for yourself. Know right from wrong. All that good shit we talk about. I hope.
Be good people.
What is it?
Be good people.
Be good people. It's not hard. We love y'all. I thank you, Frat Daddy. We're out.
Thanks, Lou.
Yes, sir.